This is the best of the week on Relevant Radio.
Getting to know you, getting to know all about
As advertised this morning, we're going to continue with our new segment called Getting to Know Our Priests, where priests who are regular contributors to Morning Air share about their journey in life and their journey as priests. Why? Because our priests are regular people with passions and hobbies and interests, but they have a special calling from the Lord. Today, we're going to get to know much better Father Burke Masters, the baseball priest. But first, let me set the tone with this memorable moment, which will set the stage for our discussion.
The 3-1 pitch is a drive deep to left, way back. It is gone! It is gone! A grand slam for Masters! A grand slam for Masters! This crowd is berserk!
Absolutely memorable moment. And joining us live for much more is our spiritual director, Father Burke Masters, the pastor of St. Isaac Jokes Parish in Hinsdale, Illinois. He's also the author of a new book that just came out very recently, A Grand Slam for God, A Journey from Baseball to Catholic Priest. Father Burke is the Chicago Cubs Catholic chaplain, known as the baseball priest, and of course, a longtime Morning Air contributor. Good morning, Father Burke. Thanks so much for joining us. It's great to be with you. I couldn't help but bring back that great highlight. I could listen to it many, many times.
Thanks, John. Always good to be with you. And of course, it brings back a great memory for me. 1990 regional tournament to help us get to the College World Series. And it's funny that I'm remembered in Mississippi for that grand slam. And I wasn't a home run hitter, maybe hit 5 a year. But I guess it's one of those in the right place at the right time.
Well, Father Burke, one of the things that we've been recently doing is our Getting to Know Our Priests series. I'm not totally sure. How long have you been with us here on Morning Air as a regular contributor?
I was trying to think of that myself. I think it's been probably 10 to 15 years I've been doing this. So it's been a wonderful part of my own ministry, but also to be a part of this great Relevant Radio team.
Tell us briefly about your early childhood, where you grew up, and how would you describe yourself when you were a kid?
So I'm the youngest of 3 boys, very sports-minded family. My dad played college basketball. My mom was an athlete, too. She loved to play softball and basketball. And so our family revolved around sports. Being the youngest, I was always the one trying to keep up with my brothers. Wasn't able to do so all the time. But it actually, I think my brothers will claim, they say, we're the reason why you were so successful in sports. And there's probably something to that because I always had to be with the older kids. I remember coming home crying one day because I couldn't keep up with my brothers on the baseball field. And my mom, she said, either you just sit here and cry or you get back out there and you play. And so that kind of impelled me to try to be the best that I could, not only on the baseball field, but in all areas of my life. And so I'm so grateful for what sports has done for me to teach me about, teamwork, hard work, discipline, working with people of all different types of backgrounds. And so that's a big part of my background and who I am.
Was some of the lessons from sports part of the key to discerning your vocation as a priest?
I would say when it comes to the disciplines, I think they were the biggest aspect of my discernment. So, in college at Mississippi State, which is one of the leading programs in the country, we practice 5 hours a day in order to be the best players that we can be. And so when it came to my own spiritual life, I started to realize if I want to be the best disciple of Christ I can be, the best Catholic I can be, I need to invest time in this relationship. It wasn't 5 hours a day, but, I started to do a holy hour and go to adoration every day for an hour. And it was in that hour of peace and quiet and listening that I started to hear God's voice deep in my heart. I don't think if I hadn't taken that time to pray, that I would ever have found the vocation that God had for me. And I can tell you now, I've been a priest for 21 years, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. It's just been, this is what God created me to do. And I think about how many people maybe miss their calling because we don't invest time in that relationship with the Lord. I always say God hasn't stopped calling, but sometimes we've stopped listening.
Well, Father Burke, what is the favorite part of your vocation as a priest? What do you enjoy the most, and also being known as the baseball priest?
It's definitely the people. I have my personality is such that I love being with people, and I love being by myself. So I'm right in the middle of the extrovert-introvert scale. And so I just love seeing the light of faith come alive in someone's eyes. And so that comes through, celebrating the sacraments. I love preaching. I love hearing confessions. I love doing one-on-one counseling with people to help them encounter the Lord. It's all about the people. But I will say also at the end of the day, after just trying to invest myself fully into the people of God, I really enjoy just sitting down in my chair and in quiet, maybe watching a ball game or just reading, having time to re-energize, to get ready for the next day.
Now, Father Burke, I know who you root for, but for our listeners, what is your favorite sports teams?
Yeah, so it's kind of funny. I am the Cubs chaplain, and I have to tell you, I grew up in a household, my parents were Cardinal fans, so I couldn't be a Cubs fan growing up. So as a little boy, I went to a Cubs-Phillies game. Mike Schmidt hit 3 home runs, beat the Phillies. I became a Phillies fan since I was a little boy. So I'm a Phillies fan, Philadelphia Eagles, and 76ers fan. Cubs are a close second.
I love it. Father Burke, thank you so much. We'll have to leave it right there. I really appreciate you being with us. Like what you just heard? Share it with your family and friends. And thanks for listening.